It's real simple. I'm going to yell hands off. You're going to yell my body. And then you're going to join in. And we're going to chant it over and over and over again until we start to feel some healing coming into this space. Is that all right? Yes! All right. Hands up!
My body!
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 Hello out there on behalf of the Planned Parenthood here in Utah, the ACLU of Utah, the Planned Parenthood all across this country that is going to be fighting for you. ACLU that is going to be fighting for you nationwide, state by state, everywhere. And all the partners, including PSL, Salt Lake City, the Utah Abortion Fund, and all the partners who mobilized this thing today. We're all so grateful for you to be here. And you're here, we're all here in solidarity for all of those impacted here today, aren't we? So I'm Dan Palmer, I'm a community organizer for the ACLU. I'm here on behalf of Planned Parenthood and the ACLU and those other partners mentioned. You'll be hearing from us tonight, as well as some of the folks in your community. We all received terrible news last night. It left us sleepless. It left us worn. We were afraid, and maybe even some of us didn't think that this day would ever come, that we would worry about losing Roe v. Wade. So if you're feeling this, we're all feeling this with you. And for folks like myself, I just want to say we're here in solidarity for all of you that are impacted. At Planned Parenthood, the ACLU, League of Women Voters, all across the country, we will not stop. We will not be silent. We will fight this until reproductive rights all across this country will be a realization. This is just the exact thing that needs to happen sometimes for us to fight even harder, to finally get over the hump, and we're going to do that. Are we going to do that? Yes! We're here, you're here, and we're not going to stop until the fight is won. I want to hear it. So first up, we're going to hear from Madalena McNeil, the youth organizer.
My name's actually Madeline Brenchley. I'm a student organizer with Students United for Reproductive Freedom. Woo! So if the Supreme Court strikes down Roe v. Wade, and that is an if, right? We need to remember that abortion access is still a constitutional right now. We have that right. Let's hear it for that right. Utah is one of 23 states that has a near total or early term a ban on abortion. That means that if Roe v. Wade is stricken down, Utah's trigger law will immediately outlaw abortion in almost all cases. It's really messed up.
Mandatory vasectomy!
Not to mention cost of living in this state is ridiculously high. I don't have the money to travel out of state for health care. We cannot forget that the wealthy will always have access to abortion. If you have the financial capacity, please consider donating to the Utah Abortion Fund today. Information about that at Planned Parenthood's table back there. And I'll end abortion access. Utah's trigger law is a sign that many of our legislators have failed us. As an institution has failed us. Midterm elections are coming up. It's time to make our voices heard. We must demand abortion access in this state and elect representatives that will fulfill that promise. Abortion saves lives. Thank you.
Next up, we have Caitlin Quaid, but before we do that, can I ask for all of those folks out here that are clergy, that understand that abortion, can you all say abortion? Let's just get rid of the stigmatism.
Yeah.
Everybody say it, abortion.
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 Is that hard word to say? It's not, is it? Let's say it again, abortion.
Abortion.
So I know we have some clergy here, and we also have some legislators, policymakers. We welcome you to stand up behind so people can see that you have support. Pay no attention. Pay no attention. We're here together. You can be louder. You can be way louder. We invite all clergy, policymakers to come on up here, and if you can, community organizer too, come on up here. Stand behind and support, please.
I'm sure not
So, if we can get Caitlin Quaid, please.
Everybody, I'm Caitlin. And like many of you, I didn't sleep well last night. And that's not because I'm 37 months pregnant and can't find a comfortable position but because,
The mic needs to be louder.
okay,
Talk directly into it.
okay, is that better?
A little bit.
All right. All right, so I didn't get much sleep last night. That's the gist of this. And not because I'm pregnant, but because my brain was doing that thing where it's trying to fix something overnight. And in this case, with the leaked SCOTUS opinion, to fix something deeply, deeply wrong. I had actually been thinking about abortion all day yesterday, and even before the headlines came out. And that's because yesterday, May 2nd, marked 20 years since I had an abortion at a Planned Parenthood clinic. And I was thinking about it all day, remembering back. It was a rainy Thursday morning, and I walked into that clinic feeling scared and sad and embarrassed, but very, very resolute, because I had a vision for what I wanted my life to be. And I was one of the lucky ones. I had friends who could lend me the money and get me a ride to the clinic, and I knew where to go. And that meant the world on that day. And I got good, kind, safe, legal abortion care. And yesterday I was also thinking about my life and how everything that I now have, a rambunctious 3-year-old who's about to get a little baby brother, a job that I love, and dignity. And I have all of these things because of that care that I got all those years ago. It was absolutely the most important health care I have ever received. And last night I was finally able to get to sleep when I remembered one detail that I had forgotten for so many years. And that was that it was, as I said, it was a rainy morning, and the provider who was coming to give care that day at Planned Parenthood was coming from another town and was delayed about 30 minutes. And the clinic had gone out and bought a huge tray of bagels with every kind of cream cheese that you could imagine for those of us patients who were sitting in the waiting room. It was a simple gesture of kindness and humanity, and it means the world to me now, looking back and thinking about how there are so many of us in this movement. And from that clinic manager to the providers who are providing abortion care, to all of you who showed up today in support, let's keep that kindness in this movement. Thank you.
Well, some of our legislators understand, don't they? Some of our legislators will fight for us. We have one here, and her name is Angela Romero. She's a representative. District 26, Angela Romero.
And I'm very, very, very lucky to have Billy Palmer as a constituent. And so he asked me if my district was still District 26, and I said yes. But due to redistricting, my new district number will be 25. So, yeah. Most of you can't see my phone here, but this is my legislative phone. And my screensaver is "We will stand with Planned Parenthood." When I first got elected, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to stand up for people and voices that weren't heard. I grew up here in Utah. I grew up in Tuella, Utah, and I always felt like my voice was silenced because I wasn't of the predominant religion, because I was a woman of color, and I just never felt like I fit in. And then I moved to Salt Lake City. And let me tell you, I love Salt Lake City because if you look at here with me, I have all the city council members and my mayor here. And I'm so proud to be a resident of Salt Lake City because I know my city leadership has my back. It's hard to follow a young person that has so much passion, who's also my constituent, and somebody who's actually experienced having to have an abortion, and because she had to make that personal choice. And as a policymaker, these are the stories I hear all the time. I hear stories about why people had to make a difficult decision, and that decision is theirs, okay? That decision isn't mine. That decision shouldn't be my colleagues here in the state capitol. That decision should not be the Supreme Court. And that decision should not be a religious institution's decision either. The important point is when someone contemplates an abortion, they've thought about that for a long time. And that choice should be their choice, and they should be able to go to a place where they're safe and that they will feel like they are comforted. We as policymakers, we as courts, we as and religious institutions, we have no place there. And so as an elected official, as someone here who serves in the state legislature, I will always have your back. I will always have the back of women to make that choice. And I feel like today I don't have the energy I usually have. And so I'm so glad that you all are here because you're giving me that energy back. Because I can tell you, it's hard sometimes up here. It's hard. This last session killed me. But I know there's a reason why I'm up here, and I know there's a reason why you're up here. And you need to show my colleagues, and you need to show our nation why it's important to support women. So what I'm asking all of you to do is vote, okay? There are so many people in our community that live in my still, I'm very proud of that. But there are so many people that live in my neighborhood that can't vote because they don't have the status to vote. And so that vote is so precious, and it's a privilege that we have. And a lot of people don't execute that vote. So I'm asking all of you, if you're here today and you have that privilege, go knock on doors for candidates that think like you. Support candidates like me so that people aren't afraid to be here standing next to me because they're afraid if they say, this is what I support, they won't get reelected. We have to flip that script here in Utah. We have to show people that we care about women and we care about their choices. And the only way we're going to change that and change how policy happens up here is if we vote, and we vote for people like me. And I always tell people, if you don't like my stance, then don't vote for me, but go vote. And so I'm not going to take any more time. I'm going to turn the time over to my mayor, which I'm proud she's standing right here next to me with all the council members, and she's going to share a couple of words with you as well.
Hello, everybody. Let's just take a minute to resonate with the speakers who have already come before us, who expressed the realities that the decision of abortion is an individual decision that is one of the most difficult decisions a woman may have to make or choose to make in her life, and it is hers and hers alone. I remember learning from Planned Parenthood when I was 18, 19 years old, volunteering in colposcopy clinics every week, just doing intake, taking questionnaires, meeting people of all walks of life, people with different incomes, backgrounds, ages, relationship status, political interests. Planned Parenthood is a backbone of healthcare, especially in a state like Utah, that we cannot afford to have their rights taken away. And I'm grateful for the vasectomies you perform also. Just in case you were wondering, you can go there for a vasectomy too. It's pretty affordable, people. It's pretty affordable. Donate to Planned Parenthood. Every single city council member for Salt Lake City is standing here with me. Can you put your hands together for unanimous support for We stand here as your local elected officials who shop at your grocery stores, who go to the preschool pickup line, who are at the parks, and we love hearing about what you need from your capital city to thrive and to have dignity. That is our day-to-day work at the city level. And we know that that dignity is shaken when we undermine people's access to health care, when we undermine access to the decisions that affect an entire lifespan and the life that could be born because of that. This is about mental health. This is about family health. This is about community health. And we will not stop. And I want to just, the wonderful speaker before, Representative Romero, who asked us to come to this with love. Now, I am an activist at heart. I came up with a hippie mom, so proud of that. Going to protest and taking my babies to protest right here. And I know that the piss and vinegar in my belly sometimes fuels me to do things like start a nonprofit on air quality or run for city council or run for mayor sometimes. But I'm asking you to channel that anger and the heartbreak and the frustration into a movement that actually moves us with love. Because our nation and even our democracy, I believe, is at stake with the hatred on all sides that we are flinging at each other. It is possible for us because I believe that love is stronger than hate and that we can move mountains loudly with our posters, with our voices, with our letters, with voting, with supporting candidates who believe in the access to healthcare and the well-being of women and all of our families. And even, I'm going to go a step further than our wonderful Representative Romero and say, you need to run for office, women. You are elected. 25% of your elected officials are women in the state of Utah. We're not even half of the conversation. So please, if you don't feel the urge and the capability yet to run yourself, support a woman who does. Support a woman who is going to pick up the microphone and say, my rights are important. They're as important as every man standing behind me and every man who will follow. My rights are important. My health care is important. And I will fight for you. So as your capital city, we love you. We will stand with you. We will fight with you. I'm going to bring my heart to it every time. I'm going to ask you to bring your heart as an American, as a nation in struggle right now. Help us come through this with some dignity, the dignity that we're asking for women. Thank you for being here tonight.
We have a child who is lost up here. If you look around and your child's not next to you, do you know his name? We bring families together here. I'm really fortunate that I get to, ever since January, work with some of the most amazing people who are here to fight, who every day I see it, every time I see them, they're ready to fight. They're ready to fight for you. I feel so fortunate. My boss, like our campaigns manager, Nikilia Venugopal, I had it in my head. Valentina Defects are going to introduce our executive director who is here to fight for you. You can bet that we have lots and lots of legal degrees fighting all across the country in every single state.
So I'm Nikilia Venugopal, Director of Campaigns with the American Civil Liberties Union of Utah.
Sadly, again, standing here with all of you because
abortion is health care! Abortion is our right! So, last night's leak confirmed our deepest fear that the Supreme Court is ready to take away our ability to control if and when to have a child. But here's the good part. Our teams of lawyers, organizers, activists have been preparing for any outcome, and we will never back down on this fundamental right.
And to be clear, as of today, abortion is legal in Utah. And we will continue fighting to keep it that way.
Thank you.
Today, we're here with our Executive Director, Brittany Nystrom, it is an honor to introduce her, to reaffirm our commitment to all Utahns to work as hard as it takes, as long as it takes, to guarantee abortion justice for all.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone who's here today. Since long before Roe v. Wade, generations of ACLU staff have defended abortion access and worked to redefine reproductive justice. Many of you know that Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg founded the Reproductive Rights Project at the ACLU. And no matter what this Supreme Court decides, this fight is not over. These last 24 hours have not been easy. It's been nearly 5 decades since Roe v. Wade was decided. And here we are, yet again, fighting for your right to decide if and when to have a child. We've already seen the devastating impact that attacks on abortion access have had in states like Texas, where these attacks fall hardest on communities that are already experiencing systemic racism, discrimination. These are communities of color. These are communities working to make ends meet, rural communities. And I cannot promise you that Utah will be immune from these attacks. In fact, I think it's probable that it will happen here. I think we can agree that no one should be forced to carry a pregnancy against their will. Can we agree? And it is no surprise that the majority of Americans support your right to control your own body and your future. Am I right? And so I promise you this, the ACLU of Utah and the ACLU across the country will not stop fighting for your decision to choose. From joining Utahns in our streets, from St. George to Bluff to Salt Lake City to Logan, to advocating in these marbled halls behind us today, to fighting in the courtroom, we will defend your rights. Today, the staff of the ACLU of Utah commit the full force of our resources to this work. We know our communities still have the power to fight. This is not over us. Join us today.
Folks, we are on a backup audio system because we had a technical difficulty. If you're having a hard time hearing, if you know somebody that's having a hard time hearing, go ahead and let them come up and try to make way for them if they're having a hard time hearing. Like I say, we're just here. We're doing our best, aren't we? Before we hear from Carrie, our lovely, lovely, lovely Carrie from Planned Parenthood, we have one more speaker. Go ahead. Just let's all give. And if City Council, since it's a Tuesday, has to get to their jobs, we know that you're here. We know that you support.
Thanks, Billy.
That means a lot, doesn't it? It means a lot. So here's Ermiah, it's Ermiah, right? Ermiah from PSL Salt Lake.
Thank you. Today, we stand here because the agency of women and all oppressed genders is yet again under attack. The women's struggle is a force in this world and a direct threat to the misogynists in elected office that cannot be stopped by a few court rulings or a few incompetent dinosaurs in office. To the Supreme Court of the United States, to a right-wing agenda that has now been amped up. You can create as many barriers as you please, and there will always be a million women to tear them down. You will stop the Supreme Court's war on women. When I say women, you say power. Women. Power. Women. Power. Women. Power. If you threaten reproductive agency in this country, a country that claims to prioritize freedom, then don't be shocked when we take this fight to the streets. The many of whom are yet again having to stand here today, fought for Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade was not handed to us on a silver platter. It was won by the people's struggle. The lack of action coming from the White House and Congress is a disservice to the fight those women endured to get us here. How many of us had to take the streets? How many of us had to die? How many of us have to be unjustly criminalized for the United States to recognize the urgent necessity of reproductive justice? The only thing that can truly get us to tomorrow is the power of our collective.
Yes.
When the mass feminist struggle makes noise, it does so in order to move us to a place where gender-based violence and a lack of basic necessities are a concern of the past. This means that we are in favor of life in all of the ways that actually matter. How can you claim you are pro-life when you are quick to remove all of our most basic necessities to live? The reality, one that right-wingers cannot grasp and come to terms with, is that we need housing. We need healthcare. We need food and water. We need education. We need reproductive justice. And we need them all to be affordable, accessible, and free. You are not pro-life if you have put a price tag on our lives. Poor and working class women everywhere make society run. It is time for us to run society. Make no mistake, the two parties in office simply do not care about our betterment either. The elected officials that we have been left with are deeply driven by corporations and capitalist greed and have failed the fight for reproductive justice all over the country. President Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, you have every ability to get the Women's Health Protection Act passed and introduce executive orders that would secure abortion as a fundamental right. And you have completely and utterly failed to do so. Instead, you are in office twiddling your thumbs as women and trans people are under threat. Sisters, brothers, and non-binary siblings, it is important to always remember where the power lies, and it doesn't lie with the courts. The power is with the people. It is clear that there is popular support for women's right to choose, and it is even more clear that we will never be able to secure this right unless we take the streets. The elitist Supreme Court is threatening a war on women and trans people's rights, and the only force capable of putting a stop to them is the people of the United States mobilizing and organizing to defend our rights. So it's clear that the only way we will win is through a militant mass movement for the women's struggle. All power to the people, and thank you. Sure to stop by our Party for Socialism and Liberation's table and sign our petition. Thank you.
Oh yeah? Standing right next to me, I didn't even recognize her. I haven't seen you since you were a teenager. For Mia for 9 on one more time. speaker and definitely not our least, right? Just remember to stop by any of these tables. You've got PSL over here, you've got Planned Parenthood over here, you've got the ACLU over here. And you got a Democrat right here. Some of us didn't realize we would be here. I'm sorry, say it again?
I said pressure for an executive order. Yeah, Democrats. Listen. We're serious.
Like our mayor.
That's why I'm here.
Awesome. That's why she's here. We've got tables. We've got tables. If you want to get involved, get more involved, sign up for these. We'll let you, we've got plenty for us all to do. Are we all here to fight? Then we're here to fight together now, aren't we? So without further ado, Carrie Galloway from Planned Parenthood of Utah.
Wow. This makes me feel better than I have in 24 hours. And haven't you shown that we know what's right and we know what we have to fight for? I really didn't expect to be here today. I thought we had a few more weeks, but I guess they wanted to check whether we were ready. We're ready. When I woke up this morning, my national office had a list, a top 5 list of what we have to remember today as we reach out to the people who support us, who keep us going, as well as the people who come to our doors every day needing help. The first thing they said is make sure your doors are open. And doors of Planned Parenthood of Utah are open every day. We're open through pandemics. We're open through hurricanes. We're open every day to meet the needs of the people so they can have safe sex. Responsible sex. Build strong families if they want and contribute to a strong Utah. So the first thing on my list was a check. We're here for the people. We'll be here today, tomorrow, no matter what happens. You can count on us. The next thing they suggested is we need to direct our rage. We've all got a little rage. And it's really fair to have a little rage. And you get to decide what to do with that rage. We've had a lot of good speakers tonight, and they've all given you opportunity to think about your rage and where you want to put it. And, you know, I'm lucky. I got a lot of rage, and I can divide it up and send it in many places. I can divide it up and give, I got a little money left over, I can give some to the ACLU because they're going to defend my rights. I can give a little bit to Planned Parenthood because I know they're going to defend other people's rights. I can give a little bit to these legislators and the city council who I know are going to watch out. They may not win all the time, unfortunately, but they're going to be there and they're going to stand up for them. And I got a little bit of rage I can give to them. And about the people who want to think about compassion. We had a wonderful speaker who was brave enough to talk about what life experiences she went through. We had a couple of those. And they talked about getting care. They talked about getting that care with love and compassion and someone who really made them feel good about their decision. As Planned Parenthood, ACLU, the Women's Democratic Club, the League of Women Voters, we all have plans to help people who need care. So no matter what group you want to work with, they've got jobs that they don't have to have money, you don't have to work in car, you gotta have some love for fellow people who need some help in figuring out how to get care when they've got schoolwork, how to get care when they got a job that they gotta show up for, when they got kids who they've gotta care for. We're gonna need a lot of help, and you can all do it, by talking to people. Let them know abortion is still legal. Let them know who to call. Let them know that someone will help them. They don't have to do it alone. Rage can go a long way, and we need that rage. The next thing on my list was bring the fight to the state. Now you've heard a couple of things about our state today. I want to suggest one more. When this, if this trigger bill comes to pass, this legislature needs to be not so capricious with setting their rules. They need to pay attention to real life Utahns who have real life struggles to make their decisions. They have to listen to the doctors. They have to listen to the people who provide the services. And they have to listen to you. You gotta get off the couch and you gotta talk to them. So save a little rage for the legislature when they get back together to decide what happens. And then a couple of these speakers have alluded to something you could do if you're feeling really brave with your rage. You could run for office. I would guess that everyone standing on the Capitol steps could do just a good job, if not better job, than a lot of people who are running through my mind right now. So, run for office, or help someone else run for office. And then the last thing I've got to say to wrap us up is we've been talking about Roe. Let's face it, the laws of Roe versus Wade are just the floor of this movement. We've got to be working for real change. We've got to be working for real respect for people who can get pregnant. To not care for them just when they get pregnant, but how about when they have the baby? We've got to make sure that our government really cares about our families, how we choose them, how we support them, how we care for them. So let's not think about just what the Supreme Court holds in its hands right now, but think about what we really want. And I think we got enough rage to go around and spread it around. and get other people a little ragey and do a lot of good for this world. I have to thank everyone who made the effort to come out today. We didn't put this together alone. The socialists, they nudged us. They nudged really well. And then we have all our good friends who stand behind us, inside of us, who help us in even getting this sound system to work. That's the hardest part of throwing a rally. But you all made it here and made us all look good, and because we know what this cause means. So it may be a dress rehearsal. We may be back here again soon. Luckily, I like hanging out with you people, so it's okay. We love you too. And take this energy, take the list, help someone expand the list, and stand up for women, people who have to get pregnant, for families, and we'll have a better Utah. Thank you so much.
These are your comrades, these are the people you're fighting with and fighting for. If your ranch has money, the Utah Abortion Fund. One more time, hands off! My body! My body! Hands off! My body! Hands off! My body! My body! Let's go out there and fight.
I'm going through. Can I see your guys' signs?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Can I see your guys' signs? Nice. On the live stream here. Planned Parenthood. Hi.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you? Can I see your guys' signs? Here, I'm live. Awesome. Thank you.